Hi guys, it's Steffi and welcome to my December book haul. I've got a lot of books, let's not beat around the bush. So I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to start with my bookish items first and then I am going to talk about my books at the end. And because there's so many books, I'll probably just introduce the book because if you've followed my channel for any period of time now, you know that I don't really know what books are about before I go into them. I prefer to read them a little bit blind. I digress. So first of all, I'm going to start with some bookish clothing items. So the first thing I picked up this month were some Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff socks from JJ's. I really only wanted the Ravenclaw socks, but they came with Hufflepuff ones, so I don't know what I'm going to do with these. Ravenclaw socks, yay! The next thing I'm going to talk about, and I know this is technically not necessarily books, but there are tie-in books, but I did pick up some new Star Wars tops. So I have my X-Wing top, which I am absolutely in love with, and a Jedi Master tank top that I'm super excited to have. I'm sort of reeling a little bit because I woke up this morning to find out that Carrie Fisher had passed away and I absolutely adore her and I just think it's so sad because Princess Leia, oh my goodness. I grew up watching Star Wars and it was my first fandom and I've read so many of the books and the stories and adventures afterwards and it's so sad, but it's okay. In keeping with the Star Wars items, I did pick up some Star Wars decals for my laptop. And I also picked up another Pop Funko, and this one is Jyn Erso because I saw Rogue One last week and I absolutely loved it. I needed Jyn Erso. She's going to be going on my new bookshelf in my new apartment next year, which is so exciting. I also picked up a second Pop Funko, and that is Wonder Woman. And this is the Wonder Woman from Batman vs Superman, which is really cool because I absolutely loved her. She was the best thing about that movie. I also picked up two pins, so a Batman and a Wonder Woman pin. And while these aren't quite bookish, these are going to be used for bookish things, particularly my bookish Instagram photos. I did pick up some LED wire lights. I just need to grab some batteries for them. But I picked up some silver ones and some copper ones and I can't wait to have a play with those. I also picked up a whole bunch of other bookish items during the month, mostly from the YA Chronicles, which I'll leave a link to up above. Also my Bookworm Candles and Crafts subscription, which I will also pop a link to up above, so don't forget to check those out if you haven't already and see the items that I picked up there, because there are some really gorgeous things. Now on to the books, and the first book that I picked up this month was Finding Wonders by Janine Atkins, which came in my YA Chronicles box, and it is a book about 3 female scientists. It is told through poetry, and I'm going to be reading this for the Holiday Booktubeathon in the next couple of days, and I'm really excited to get to this one. Next up, I received 3 books for review from Alan and Unwin. So the first one is Lost Stars by Lisa Sealand Davis, which I have read and I have a review for up on my blog, but I'll also be talking about in my wrap-up. It is a young adult contemporary book and I really enjoyed this one. I also have Cut by Mark Raab, or Raab, and this is a crime thriller book about a serial killer in Europe and I'm really excited to get into this one. This one is going to be coming up for me in the next couple of days so that I can write a review for it. And I also have Third Time Lucky by Carly Lane, which I was part of the blog tour for this book earlier in the month, and I was sent a copy so that I could read it and review it, and I'm going to be reading this again at the end of the month for the Holiday Booktubeathon. I only received 1 book for Christmas, although I did get some book vouchers, and that is The Life and Death of Sophie Stark by Anna North, which I think is about the life and death of a director and told by the people who knew her. And that's about all I know about it. And that's all I want to know because I want to go into this one not knowing too much and just enjoying it. I also won 5 Goodreads giveaways in December, which is just bizarre. And I've received 4 of them so far. And I don't know too much about them except that I'm going to be reading them really, really soon. So the first one is Lisa Carey's The Stolen Child. I also picked up Born of the Phoenix by D.M. Forrester, or David Murray Forrester. This one's really cool because it has been personalised and signed. I also picked up Hartley's Grange by Nicole Hurley Moore. Again, I think this one is set in Australia. And I also won a copy of Hexenhaus by Nikki McWatters, which I've heard a little bit about on BookTube. I don't know too much about it. I just know that the people who have read it have said that it was really good. Earlier this week, I shared an unboxing of A Blind Date with a Book, and the book that I received in that was Embassy Town by China Meeville, so I will pop a link for that up above. Next up, I picked up Starflight by Melissa Landers, which I have heard about on BookTube, but I was having to spend a voucher and I wasn't sure what to pick up, and I saw this one and it was hardcover and it's gorgeous. It's young adult science fiction. It has really good reviews on Goodreads and I'm really curious to jump into it because yes, sci-fi. I also picked up Black Widow, Red Vengeance by Margaret Stoll, which is the second book in the Black Widow series. I haven't read the first one yet, but I'm hoping to marathon both of them all the way through. This one is also in hardcover because it's not out in paperback here in Australia yet. Again, spending my voucher, I picked up Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, I have never ever read an Agatha Christie book, and I sort of feel really ashamed to admit that. But I thought this one would be a great one to pick up. This one is the one that most people recommend to start with, and I can't wait to read it. I also picked up James Patterson's Zoo. I love the TV series. The second season has just come out, been released on Netflix here, and I want to get into it, but I also have been meaning to read the book. So this is about animals waging war on mankind, and I absolutely love that sort of thing where nature turns and twists itself back against humanity. I haven't read a James Patterson book in a long time, so I'm looking forward to jumping into this one. This book was a really curious find for me because I found it while I was at Acme, also spending a voucher, and it is A Wrinkle in Time, the graphic novel. I've never read A Wrinkle in Time, and I know it is sort of like a perennial favourite fantasy book, but I thought this would be a really great way to read it in a graphic novel form. I also picked up The Rook by Daniel O'Malley. This book I have seen recommended a few places on BookTube, and I've seen it in store a lot, and I've been really wanting to pick it up. It is the winner of the Aurelius Award 2012 for Best Science Fiction Novel, so it's got to be pretty good. So this book is all about espionage and spies, and on the back it says, if you like Harry Potter, Buffy, X-Men, or any assorted series that mixes humour and the supernatural, you'll probably love The Rook, and I love all those sorts of things, so I really want to dive into this book. Another book that I've been wanting to pick up for a really long time, because it has been talked about quite a bit here on BookTube, is As I Descended by Robin Talley. It's the first time I've actually seen it in an Australian store, so it must have only just been released here, even though I've been looking for ages. I don't know too much about it. I know that it is about two girls who are in a relationship, and there is another girl who's standing in their way at their prestigious academy. There are feuds and fatalities, and I think it's based off one of Shakespeare's stories, but don't quote me because I don't read Shakespeare. But I'm very eager to read this one very soon. I also picked up Bear All Rights by Hannah Kent. This one has also got really good reviews, and I know it is going to be quite sad because it is about a woman who is condemned to death but has to spend her final days on a farm. This one has intrigued me since I first heard about it, and I finally picked it up. I also picked up Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard Book because I thought I had a copy of this, and apparently I didn't, so I just picked it up so that I can add it to my collection because I know I have read it before. The next book is really random, and that is The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape, and this was recommended to me by a family friend because I am moving out of home and into my apartment next year, and I need to seriously up my savings game, and she said this was quite a really easy to read book with really great practical tips that are really easy to implement, and I'm going to read it. Yes, I am. I'm going to be a responsible adult. I apologise for the lighting. It's going in and out because it is really overcast outside and it's driving me nuts. The last two, this one sort of makes me a little bit sad, and that is The Princess Diarist by Carrie Fisher, which is her journals from when she was on the set of Star Wars when she was 19 years old. And, you know, this one has been talked about a little bit in the media because she does reveal her affair with Harrison Ford during the days of Star Wars and all sorts of things, but I just love Carrie Fisher's writing. I think she's just so honest. Wishful Drinking is one of my favourite books to read. I couldn't not pick this one up and just read it because I am a Star Wars fan. I love Carrie Fisher. With everything that's happened in the last week, this is something that I definitely want to read soon. I just love her honesty in her books. I think that's really refreshing to see. She very rarely sugarcoats anything. So this will be appearing in either a wrap-up or a TBR soon. The last book that I picked up is one that I'm so excited for. It is going to be, well, it's going to be added to my Star Wars collection. It is The Art of Rogue One. It is a gorgeous, heavy, giant book featuring artwork from the film. I love collecting these books for Star Wars films. I just think they're absolutely beautiful. And this one is going to probably be a coffee table book in my apartment. It's one thing to have set photos, but I think it's another thing to have a book of artwork and design concepts and things like that. I think that's really interesting. So I'm so glad that I picked this one up. It was not cheap, but I did get it on sale, which is why I did pick it up now. But oh. So that is my giant pile of books. I'm not going to even attempt to pick them up. And I've got some serious reading to do because my TBR is ridiculous, and there are plenty of books coming out next year that I really want to read, but I'm going to be pretty good because I'm only going to pick up the books that I'm really eagerly anticipating until I get through a good portion of these. Or at least that's the hope. We'll see how I go. Don't forget to let me know down below what is your favourite book that you have picked up this month. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for future videos. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're having a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.